Now that we have our point cloud, we're looking to generate a mesh from this point cloud. To do this, I went to Edit, Normals, Compute, and then I hit OK. I've already done this. Then I went to Plugins and Poisson Recon, and then I left Octree Depth as the default 8. This will increase the number of triangles that are generated in the mesh if we increase this value. And then we want to check output density as SF, which is scalar field. So once I did that, it generated this gorgeous mesh that doesn't really seem to look anything like Jim Henson, but the idea is there. In this properties tree for the mesh, we can change the color scheme or the color scale. So I left it as going from blue, green, yellow, red. So what that means is that blue regions has a very low density of points, whereas the red regions have a very high density of points. So we can see down here what the distribution of density looks like, and we can shift this bound here to remove all of this low density area, which might be like these areas out here might be generated by noise or just to fill up that area. So here I can remove to a point, and it still doesn't really look like the statue, but we can see the general shape of the bench. It's also interesting that this large blob formed right here, and as we get rid of points, as we get rid of these lower density areas, there's nothing filling in this area. So that was something I failed to consider while I was scanning. I thought that because this point cloud has a set of points kind of bounding this area, and not many other points around it, I figured that it would connect these together. But I didn't understand how the mesh was actually going to be generated, so once it was generated, it ended up kind of leaving a hole there, and instead of trying to connect across this plane, obviously it doesn't know that there's a plane there, it kind of just generated these cavities instead. In terms of noise, there's no points that are like very extraneous to this right now, but I would say that if I were to do this again, I would pick a smaller target and try to get a much higher density scan. This target was pretty large, so I would say it was at least 5 feet wide and 4 feet tall. So that meant that there was a lot of area to cover. So even after doing 4 scans and hours of scanning, it seemed like we had gathered a lot of data, which would lead to a nice dense point cloud, which would generate a very clean mesh. It just wasn't possible. So maybe next time I would focus on just scanning Kermit and getting a really dense version of Kermit and generating a mesh from that.